Hi guys, and I'm going to be doing my June reading wrap up. I read 7 whole books and I finished 1 book from last month, so we're going to get into it a little bit. So this is a really good month for me. I don't think I've ever read more than like 3 books a month, so this is really good. First up, we have Saint. I finished this book. I started this book last month. I think I gave it a 4 stars on Goodread, but it's not a lot of plot. It's a lot of smut. So if you go to read this, don't be expecting a whole lot of plot. But it's basically about one of the brothers. There are 3 books in this series and a novella, but it's the last brother and he becomes a monk. And so it's about him and his boyfriend's relationship and lack thereof throughout his journey as being a monk. Next up, we have Archer's Voice. This book, I loved it. It did make me cry a little bit towards the end, but I absolutely loved it. It's about this girl who moved into this small town from the big city in California, and so she learns her way around the city and her little town or whatever, and she meets this guy who's very closed off for certain reasons, but I'm not going to tell you because that'll be the spoiler. But and she gets really close with him, and then that's their relationship from there. And I absolutely loved this. I think I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads, so definitely recommend. Next up, we have Travis. Now, I didn't really like Travis. It didn't live up to my expectations after reading Archer's Voice, but I still gave it, I think I gave it 3 stars, but it was really slow. It's a slow burn and like slow, and I just think it could have been done a little bit better. I do like slow burns, but I wasn't really a huge fan of this one. I would say still give it a read. I think it wraps up Archer's Voice 2 very well because it does mention all the characters in Travis as well, but it was iffy for me. So, but I'm also a very big mood reader, and I wasn't really in the best mood while reading this, but I still think the slow burn could have been done a lot better. Next up, we have Things We Never Got Over. I absolutely loved this book. I know I've heard very controversial opinions on this book. I loved it. I think it should be a movie. I think I gave it 4 or 5 stars on Goodreads. I know I'm very relaxed on my star ratings compared to a lot of people I see, especially on Book Talk, but I loved this book and I do recommend it. It is another small town romance. She moves in, she's a runaway bride. She moves into this little town escaping her ex-fiance, it would be, and meets this guy who runs a bunch of things in the town, and he helps her out with escaping some things that are going on during the story. But I do recommend reading this, so I really liked it. I do plan on picking up Things We Hide from the Light soon, which is the 2nd book in the series. Then we have Scarred by Emily McIntyre. This is the 2nd book. I do have the 1st book also in my stack, but we're just going to go ahead and talk about it since I picked it up. I really did like this book. It started a little bit slow for me, but I was in a little reading slump when I started this book, but I did love it. The end, it was very fast-paced. I just liked the plot. I liked the relationship between the characters, so I do recommend it. This whole series so far has been really good. I'm currently reading the 3rd book right now, but I do recommend this book. And then this goes to the 1st book. This is the 1st book in the Never After series, which this was the 2nd, this is the 1st, Hooked. I absolutely loved this book. So if you don't know anything about the Never After series, they're like spin-offs of like Disney movies. So like Hooked was Peter Pan, Scarred was The Lion King, and I'm reading Wrenched right now, which is The Wizard of Oz. But I absolutely loved Hooked. Like, so far I think I liked Hooked more than the other 2 ones I read, but I do really like this one. The spice in it, the plot was so good, just all around. Yes, I think I gave this 5 stars on Goodreads. Then we move on to Does It Hurt by H.G. Carlton. I absolutely loved this book. I'm such a dark romance girly, but check the trigger warnings because it does get a little dark. I will say there are some things where I'm like, Questionable, but I really did like it. The plot is good, the romance is good, the ending, it's just all around such a good book for me. I think I gave this 5 stars on Goodreads as well. So I do recommend it. Just make sure you check the trigger warnings before you start reading it. Okay, the last book I read in June is The King of Wrath by Emily Huang. I absolutely loved this book. I read this book with my cousin. We spent the night at my grandmother's house, and Buddy read it. Finished it the whole, like, in a day and a half. And probably not even that, because we were doing other stuff. But I absolutely loved this book. Could not put it down. The plot is so good. The romance is so good. So basically this book is a forced marriage. So it's close proximity, forced arranged marriage. And it is, I think it's considered a dark romance. But it was really good. Overall, it's just really good. So I definitely recommend picking this one up. The premise of this book, I forgot to tell you, but she's running away from issues she's had in the past and stealing people's identities, just trying to escape until she stole the wrong guy's identity and he comes after her. But yeah, overall, this was a good reading month for me. I've never read more than I think 3 books in a month, and I read 7.5. And I started other books as well that I am finishing now in July. But I definitely recommend these. You can check them out. You can check my Instagram out as well, and my TikTok, and that's more information on like my reading stuff. But I highly recommend these books. If you have any questions, you can just let me know.